Welcome back to the Unsupported Report. This is a new weekly series from Steam Deck HQ where we go over 2 to 3 different games that are rated unsupported for the Steam Deck to see if they really deserve that rating. So we will actually go into the games, we will test them out, we will see if they're working, and if there's some way to get them working, we will not only report on it, but we will go over it so you can get it working for yourself. And of course, we will check reports on ProtonDB to see if they line up with our findings. Last week, we went over the first 3 games for this series: Batman Arkham Origins, Tabletop Simulator, and Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. And while they all run on the Steam Deck, there are some games that might deserve the unsupported badge. One of the games in this episode actually does as well, but there is a way to fix it and get it running, and it's really easy to do. So join us as we dive into the next episode of the Unsupported Report, and in this episode we're going to be going over Starlink Battle for Atlas, Ys Origin, and Sonic Adventure DX. Now, if you want to see more videos like this, hit that like and subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified as soon as our next video goes live. And if there are unsupported games that you want to see in upcoming episodes, let us know down in the comments. Now, without further ado, let's get right to it. Let's start off with our first game on the list for this report, Starlink Battle for Atlas. Now, Starlink Battle for Atlas does run on the Steam Deck, but it also deserves that unsupported badge. For whatever reason, the game doesn't install Ubisoft Connect along with the game, and that makes it so it can't run at all. So if we just leave it alone as is, it's unplayable and dead in the water, which is why I would consider this deserving of the unsupported badge. However, this is also really easy to fix. All we have to do is go to desktop mode and go to the Discover store. From there, look for a tool called Proton Tricks, which allows us to install Windows DLL and components and applications directly into game prefixes. Once it's installed, go ahead and launch Proton Tricks and then scroll down to Starlink Battle for Atlas. Once that's done and Proton Tricks launches, hit install an application, and then scroll down to Ubisoft Connect and just install it. You'll have to go through the installation process a little bit manually, but once done, you can quit Proton Tricks, get back into game mode, and then go right into the game. Now, once you head back in the game mode, you should be able to launch the game and just start playing regularly. However, I did encounter a little issue with Ubisoft Connect where it couldn't update, but you can just bypass this if you want to. However, once that's done and you're in game, it should play perfectly. The controller automatically recognizes, so you should have no problem actually using the controller of the Steam Deck, and I think it could get a high quality 45 frames per second lock with a TDP limit around 10 to 11, which should strike a balance between smooth gameplay, better battery drain, and fantastic visuals. There are some moments where the game does drop a little bit, and it defaults to the high setting, so it looks really great on the small screen. I haven't encountered any issues in my playtime with it, so I don't think it's going to be a big problem. I would say, other than the Ubisoft Connect issue, Starlink Battle for Atlas is relatively playable and a lot of fun. It was great going back in time to one of my favorite games to play on the Nintendo Switch and bring it back on the Steam Deck, though I do miss being able to play as Fox and fly around in the R-Wing. Next is Sonic Adventure DX, the first Sonic Adventure game that released on the PC. Now, this is a special version of the game, not the exact Dreamcast version that released all those years ago, but it's still playable. I really had no issues actually playing this game. It recognizes the controller, has solid battery life, and of course it runs flawlessly at 60 frames per second. I really have yet to run into any issues while playing, and it just doesn't really make that much sense why it's rated unsupported. Now, over on ProtonDB, I did take a look at the game to see if there were any reports of issues, and while there are reports of issues, it's mostly due to this version of the game and not just the Steam Deck. So these problems that you might face are still problems that a lot of people on Windows PCs will also be facing. There are some recommendations to set up some mods to fix it, but the mods also cause some other problems, and honestly, I think just playing it as is has been perfectly fine. So if you really want the best version of this game, I would look into getting the SADX mod installer running on there. It does look like it's a little bit of a process and it could introduce some issues, so I'm not outright recommending it, but it is possible that it should still run perfectly fine after a little bit of tweaks. And finally, we have Ys Origin, which, just like Sonic Adventure DX, should run perfectly on the Steam Deck without any issues. It runs at a solid 60 frames per second and detects the controller and the controller support without any problems. However, while it is perfectly playable, there are some little issues that I do feel should be noted. The aspect ratio for the game is 4:3, so it won't fit the entire screen of the Steam Deck. It will fit vertically, but not horizontally. The controller can also be a little bit wonky. While it is recognized, we can't skip any cutscenes, pausing is set to clicking the right joystick down, and any in-game prompts for tutorials will be shown with its keyboard input. It's not the end of the world, but it can feel a little awkward when trying to actually learn how to play. Still, after all is said and done, other than those small issues, Ys Origin runs like a charm and is actually very playable despite its unsupported rating. Going over ProtonDB reports for the game, there used to be a lot of issues with cutscenes, which seems like those have been fixed, and when I played, any sort of cutscenes, even though I couldn't skip them, were working as intended. If there are any issues with cutscenes, or you notice that cutscenes either aren't playing or they have the weird rainbow bars, you may need to switch to ProtonGE to actually play them. However, I was using the default, which is Proton 9.0/4, so I would say that you should be able to play just fine. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified as soon as our next video goes live. And if there are any unsupported games that you guys want to see in our future episodes, let us know in the comments. And of course, a huge thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. See you next time.